Have you ever wondered how your favorite app or gadget came to be? That's the magic of product design. It's not just about making things look pretty, it's about solving problems and creating experiences that people love. Hi, my name is Precious Davis. Imagine you're hungry. You open a food delivery app. It's easy to use, finds the perfect meal, and gets it to you quickly. That's great product design. It's about understanding the user, creating solutions, and making sure the product works seamlessly. So, why choose product design? First, you get to be creative and innovative. You are constantly coming up with new ideas and solutions. Second, you make a real impact on people's lives. You can design and improve people's daily routines and experiences. And third, the job market is booming. Companies are always looking for talented product designers. Ready to dive in? In our course, you will learn the fundamentals of user research, sketching, wireframe, and prototyping. You will also explore user experience, UX design, and user interface design. But it's not just about theory. We believe in hands-on learning. You will work on real-world projects and collaborate with other creative minds. After graduation, you'll be ready to take on exciting roles like product designer, UX designer, UI designer, or even UX researcher. You can work in tech, healthcare, e-commerce, or any industry that creates digital products, the possibility even UX researcher. You can work in tech, healthcare, e-commerce, or any industry that creates digital products. The possibilities are endless. Are you ready to shape the future of products? Join us and unlock your potentials as a product designer. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our social media platforms.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Good to be here again. Hi, Esther. How are you? How's your day?
It's good to see you today. You're looking really beautiful.
Thank you. You as well. See the smile. I'm so excited about today. I don't know
Oh,
if okay, ladies, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome again to our third session. This is our third session of talking about the world of design and all that. It's been an amazing journey, really. I would say you guys, well done. I would say well done, well done, well done. You guys have decided to show up. I'm excited about this. Well done. And thank you for always participating, your comment. Thank you for always engaging the class and making it lively. Well done, guys. I know that learning can be very tough virtually. Like most people enjoy the physical class, but you guys have put the effort, and I would say kudos to you guys. Well done for showing up. And I trust God that our efforts will not be in vain. Your efforts will not be in vain by God's grace. Well done, well done. Awesome. So I want you, if you are here and ready for today's class, I want you to put like your best emoji on the chat, your best emoji. If you are ready for today's class, I want you to put your best emoji on the chat. I'm loving it. Let me see. Well done, well done. Your best, make sure it's your best emoji. Well done, well done, well done, well done. I'm excited already. Well done, ladies. Well done. You guys are doing well. I must say, you guys are really doing well. You're doing well. Well done, well done. Love it. Love the energy. We love the energy. We really love the energy. Love the energy. Well done. Well done. It's really great seeing you guys engaging so far. Well done. Well done. Okay. Well done. Well done, guys. Okay, before we kickstart the session officially, I just wanted us to. I know our next facilitator would like give like a recap of what happened last week. She's going to give a recap. But personally, I want you guys to tell me what stick with you, like something you can never forget, like something that stick with you from last class that you can never forget. I want you to drop it on the chat. Something that sticked with you last class that you can never forget. That if you are sleeping and they wake you up like this, Damilola, what is this? You'll be able to say it confidently without not even thinking or trying to ruminate on it. I want you to drop it. What's that thing that actually stick with you during the last class? I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking at your chat anyway, so I'm looking forward to it. Okay. Yes, I love the Sarah the architect. Like it was another game changer for me. Like yes, okay. Someone says product design is problem solving. Nice. Prototype. Okay. Okay. Someone says you design to solve people's problem. I love that. I love that. Prototype is just like a model. Well done. A product design must be empathetic. Well done. Empathy is key in design. It's key. Well done. Well done. Okay, the 5 phases of design thinking. Oh, the person that wrote the five, I want you to put the 5 phases there of design thinking. Well done. My target audience is very important. Esther 2024, if you leave design, design will leave you. I love that. Love it. Okay. Sarah the architect. Do we have any Sarah on this group? Sarah, if you are here, say hi. You are already there. Oh, hi, Sarah. There's Sarah here. Someone says, I love that. Personalized it. I am a problem solver. I love that. I love that. A product designer must research. Very important. You're not designing for yourself. You're designing for a set of users. A product design should ideate. Well done.
Yeah.
The process doesn't stop once oh, sorry, that has gone. Okay, interacting with user is non-negotiable in product design. Very important. Teamwork, brainstorming and sketching, very important. Well done, ladies. Wow, I'm ready for today's class. I hope you guys are ready. So I'm going to hand over to our facilitator for today. Her name is Esther. If you see her, I don't know if you noticed. If you noticed her before this video, say hi. Just like, hi, my name is Esther. Everybody, I guess I studied. Yeah, so she's not real life, real life. She wants to teach us real life. So all those things that you have been seeing in the video, that's the video. Now this is real life. She wants to teach us and tell us her experience and all that. So ladies, I'll be off your screen for hours or more than an hour so that Esther can dive into today's topic. Please and please be open-minded, be open to learning. If you have any question, drop it on the chat. We are open to um give you responses and all that. Please be open-minded. Well done, ladies. See you, ladies. Later. Bye.
Thank you
Bye,
so
Esther.
much for that warm welcome. Thank you so much.
Bye.
So today, bye. I'll see you soon. So today I would be diving into design methodologies and frameworks. Design methodologies and frameworks. Good evening, everyone, from wherever you are listening to me. Some of you it may be good morning, some of you it may be good afternoon, some of you it may be good evening. So good day from wherever you are listening to me. We'll be talking about design methodologies and frameworks. So if you want to put it on the group, on the chat now, let me know what you think about methodologies. What to you now, what's the definition of methodologies, frameworks? When somebody says that, oh, I am going to teach you whatsoever methodology or whatsoever framework, what do you think they're talking about? Let me see that on the charts. Let me see that on the charts. What is methodology and framework? What is methodology and framework? What is methodology? What is framework? I'm still waiting. So someone says that methodology has to do with research, a case study. Oh, that's nice. It's more like the methods to use or styles to follow. I love that. More like the methods to use to do a particular thing or a style. Yes, thank you very much for that. A framework, somebody said, is like structure. Somebody says methodology and framework is how something works. I like that. Methodology is a process or a procedure. I like that as well. We have design techniques. I like that. That's really, really nice. would mean the steps, a system to follow for the work. I like that. Methodologies is the process used in accomplishing a goal. Yes, 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 very correct, absolutely true. The method you use to arrive at your design, the instrument you use. Okay, okay. I like the first part that says the method you use to arrive at a design. That's nice. So someone says the method in which a certain process is done. Different methods, I think. Okay, that's good. Design methods and techniques. Okay, methodology is a step-to-step process in achieving a task. Ebonluwa Taiwo, this is succinct, like this is on point. Is the step-to-step process in achieving a task. I love that. I love that so much. Yes, that's really cool. That's really cool. Systems used in doing something. Someone, Aminat said the method of designing and the principle to use. I like that. Method for the process to be achieved. How to achieve design processes, okay? Methods involved in carrying out a project, strategic plan to follow. It has to do with a pattern or a guide. Systems of methods. I like that. This is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Taiwo Hazan says the way you carry out your product. Okay, okay, I like that. Bami says methodology is the strategies used to get the perfect design for a product. Cool, 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 cool. Strategies used to get the perfect design for a product. I can see a lot. Oh wow, this is good. This is nice. This is nice. Frameworks refer to the components of a thing. Okay. The approach to the resolution of product challenges. Methodology is the steps in design. I like that. These are really cool answers. These are really cool answers. Now, before we even talk about the methodologies and the frameworks, we had a class last week that talked about design thinking, right? And the role of a product designer. And we saw that with design thinking is also a framework or a methodology we can use to achieve design. So when you are looking at, when someone says that what are the frameworks or what are the methodologies to achieve a particular or to achieve product design, you can call design thinking a methodology or a framework for achieving product design. And before we even move further, when we are dealing with product design, we are going to be teaching you how to deal with digital products. Digital products. We are not going to be teaching you how to build cup or how to build vase and the likes. We are only teaching with digital products. Digital products like your phone applications, like your web applications, like a website, like a web application, like a mobile application and the likes. That's what we are going to be teaching you. So in previous classes, from the first class till this class, we've talked about user interface design that talks about what you see on an interface, user experience design that talks about how you feel about a product design that talks about how the step-by-step process a designer will take to achieve the building or the designing of a particular product. Design thinking, which is a strategy that you should use while you are designing. And then we also talked about the role of a product designer. And the role of a product designer is to do what? To solve a problem. We've all said that in the previous charts or in the previous classes. So I mean, we already understand what product design is, and we'll be diving further to what we have today. So, what is design methodologies and frameworks? Design methodologies and frameworks are structured approaches that would guide a product designer in solving problems. Remember that we said in the last class that the role of a product designer, one of the major roles of a product designer, is to solve a problem. So now we are looking at the structured approach to guide a product designer in solving that problem and in creating effective solutions. You would notice that, let's take for instance, you're supposed to move from your house where you are at the moment to so let's say, because this is Ladies in Tech Africa Bootcamp and it is supported by the Redeemed Christian Church of God. So let's say that from your house, you are moving from your house to the Redemption City. There will be a step-by-step process. There will be a structured approach you will take from leaving your house to getting to the Redemption City. And the method you may use, the method Esther will use to get to the redemption city might not be the same method Shekemi would use to move from her house to the redemption city. And it might not also be the method Folashade would use to get to the redemption city from her house. Now, let's take, for instance, three of us are using three different structured approaches. Maybe I am coming by road from my house to the redemption city. Maybe Shekemi is coming by air from her house to the redemption city. And maybe Folashade is moving by waters from her house to the redemption city. At the end of the entire thing, the end goal is that we all reach redemption camp or redemption city. If we are not all reaching redemption city, if we are not all solving a problem, if we are not all giving or creating effective solutions at the end, then there's a problem. So the end goal of moving through all these structured approaches is that we are able to solve problems and create effective solutions. The reason why so many applications, you would see that there are so many designers out there, they are building so many applications, but only few of them really solve the problem of a lot of users, create effective solutions for them, and those applications thrive. Is because these people move through a series of structured approach that will guide them as product designers to solve that problem and then create effective solution. We're going to be looking at various approaches today, various approaches. We are going to be looking at more than 7 approaches to solving our problems. And these tools provide a clear path from identifying your problem to delivering a finished product, ensuring that the process is both organized and user focused, which means that at the end of the day, you want an application that people would use. If you build an application, I always use this as an example in my class, that if you are building a product and at the end of the day, it is only yourself and the clients who pay you that will use the application, you've not done anything. If you are going to build an application, or if you are going to design an application, or if you think you want to solve a problem and at the end of the day, nobody is going to use that application, then you've not solved any problem. You've not gotten to the heart of the users. And your products have to be user focused. Your products have to touch the heart of the users to make them use the application. If you look at stories of how maybe Google came about, maybe let's look at Google Chrome. We knew that there was, I think there was Yahoo at the time, and Yahoo was really basking. Yahoo was everywhere. Everyone was using Yahoo. And then Google came with such simplicity, solving the problem of search. Or Google Chrome, let's use Google Chrome, not just the whole of Google, but Google Chrome. Google Chrome came with that solution of search. If you want to search for something, this is how you search for something. We give you a plain design that only has one call to action button that says search for this thing. So I come to the website, I look for Google Chrome, and I'm just seeing search. And then I can search for anything. It has solved my problem. I'm not here to look at other news. I'm just searching. So it has solved a dynamic problem for a lot of users. And you see that because of that, because of this small solution that they have solved, 1,000 or millions of users moved away from Yahoo and then just jumped to Google for its simplicity. So you see that you want to make sure that your process or your product is user focused. When you are building a product that is user focused, you want to go through a process that would be dynamic, a process that would work for you. And that process would now be something we are going to be looking at today. Please, if you only came here to mark your attendance, you are wrong. So please, I would like us to reduce our talk on attendance. Whenever it will be time for attendance, we will talk about the attendance. For now, pay extreme attention to what we are discussing so that you will get the exact thing you want to get. Don't come online and then just start talking about the attendance. We will get to the attendance part, but pay attention to what we are doing in class right now. Thank you very much. Now we are going to be looking at different processes or different frameworks and methodologies. Number one would be, of course, we have talked about design thinking. If as of now we don't know what design thinking is about, we are going to close this. So we have design thinking, we have lean UX, we have agile design, we have double diamond, we have user experience design elements, we have product development lifecycle, and lots more. I think we have 3 others that I didn't even keep put in this place. So we are going to be talking about it one after the other. If you have any question, you can just put your question on the chat. If I cite your question, I will quickly give an answer to that. Now, we already know what design thinking is about. And if I want to simplify it for us, I use this code of EDIPT to explain what design thinking is about. So when I remember EDIPT, I know that E is for empathize, D is for define, I is for ideate, P is for prototype, and T is for test. So when I remember this, EDIPT, E for empathize, D for define, I for ideate, P for prototype, and T for testing. I already use that to understand that, okay, when I want to go through the process of design thinking, I have to understand my user, I have to define the problem, and then align the problem with the user goals and user needs. I have to ideate and then get different ranges of possible solutions. In some of my classes, I'll call that hypothesis solution, hypothetical solution. Sometimes I call it hypothesis statements. Now you can use that to ideate, get a lot of potential solutions, and then get a particular solution that you have seen that, oh, this would solve the problem more, this is easier, this is simpler. You then prototype that, get a model out of that, test that. If that is good enough, then you can now do what? You can produce that and then give the engineers to then work on it and get a product out of it. Right? And then, of course, you know that these processes are iterative. From your empathize, you can go to your define, or you can, from your define, you can go to your prototype, to your ideate. From your ideate, you can go to your prototype. From your prototype, you can go to your test. Now, from your test, you can go back to define, right? You can go back to define. From your test, you can go back to your ideate. From your test, you can go back to your prototype. You know, you can still work things out and go round like a circle. You can keep working things out like that. So it's not that it's a step. It is iterative. So you can move from one to the other and keep aligning your processes until you have gotten the solution correctly. Now, of course, I'm not going to be talking about design thinking for a very long time. Empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test. That is EDIPT. So always remember that, and that would make your work easy. Now let's move to the next one. The next one we are going to be talking about would be lean UX. Sometimes you hear about lean UX, and most people would be like, let's use the lean UX method to design. Let's use the lean UX method to design. Now, what is lean UX? Lean UX is a collaborative, user-centric approach to design that focuses on minimizing wasted time, money, and resources during your design cycle. Now, with lean UX, what you are doing with lean UX is that you are trying to create a solution, and you don't want to use the whole time to solve that problem. So you want to quickly solve the problem. You want to make sure that let's take, for instance, you have a project on your hand. A company has just called you. Let's call the name of the company. Let's call the name of the company Delight. I just saw Delight, so I'm going to use Delight. So let's call the name of the company Delight, and let's say Delight has come to meet some global product designers here, and then they've said that they want to solve the problem of congestion in Lagos State. Amazing. Congestion in Lagos State. Now, if Delight is coming to meet us to say they want to solve congestion in Lagos State, we now come back, right, to now say, okay, let's solve this problem using lean UX. With lean UX, we are looking at a user-centric approach that minimizes wasted time. Now, if we get to Agile method of solving problem, we'll be talking about the waterfall model, which is a step-by-step method of solving the problem. If you don't finish this step, you can't go to the next step. If you don't finish this step, you can't go to the next step. But with lean UX, you are running around that problem as quick as possible so that you can get the solution to that problem. Now, if you quickly get the solution to that problem and you discover that the solution to this problem, it might not sell as much because you are using lean UX, you have not spent enough money. I mean, you have not spent too much money, you have not spent too much of resources. You can quickly, I advise Delight, right? That I know that we want to solve congestion in Lagos State, and we have looked at so many solutions. This particular solution looks like the best solution, but we don't think that the users would really move with this solution. So we are thinking, can we re-strategize? If you say, can we re-strategize at this point, you have not spent too much money on the product. You can quickly re-strategize before too much money would even get involved in that. I don't know if you are following me. So if you are going through the lean UX method, you are minimizing wasted time, you are minimizing the use of money and even resources during your design cycle. The lean UX streamlines the design processes by quickly validating your ideas with real users. It minimizes waste and iteration based on feedback. Now you think that you've gotten the solution. You have gone to test this solution. And with this solution, now you realize that this thing is not going to work. Our users will not use this application if we build this application. So you've not even gone to the process of building it. You've just gotten to the process of designing it. So quickly you go back to your board and then you re-strategize again. That is what lean UX helps you to do. So lean UX breaks a product up into short, rapid cycles in order to get things done quickly with continuous testing and improvements along the way. I'm going to give us an example with a product I'm working on. Now, I'm not going to tell you anything about the product because I signed the NDA. Now we're working on a product, and at the beginning of this product, we already had an idea and we tested the idea. And a lot of people, I think we interviewed about 500 persons, and these 500 people, they told us that this is the solution they want as of yesterday. So we ran to lean process. The lean UX is not an app. It's a methodology you use. It's a methodology you use, right? It's not an application. No, it's not an application. It is a methodology like design thinking. So just like the process of design thinking, you can also use lean UX as a process. This time around, instead of design thinking, you are using lean UX to solve your problem and build or design your product. I don't know who asked the question. Daima Julius, have I answered your question? It's not an app, right? No, it's not an app. Yes, exactly, Temi, it's a shortcut method. Yeah, thank you very much. So lean UX breaks the project up into short, rapid cycles in order to get things done quickly with continuous testing and improvements along the way. So let's go back to my story. We had interviewed 500 persons. These 500 people had already said that, oh, they want this product. Now we built or we designed the product quickly, and then we took it to the market again to go and test. We brought in some people, just some dedicated participants now, tested the product, they loved the product, and then we started the development. As the product development was going on, we started to discover that we needed more users to test the product. Now, the second phase of users testing the product, we started noticing that there was a pattern change. Now, with the pattern change, now we discovered that they wanted some other features. This feature was going to make us go back to the design board again to start a fresh design. So what did I tell my team? I told my team that this is good, this is a very good problem. Now we are already preparing for version 2, even before version 1 is out. But because of the users that we have tested the product with, we can now start preparing for version 2 of the app, such that when version 1 comes on board, the developers are already working on version 2, and then few months after these people have used version 1, they can quickly see an update to version 2, and more users can come on board. So with the lean UX, you see that your method is iterative, your method is quick, your method is faster. You are not spending so much money on research, you are doing everything together. Now, the lean UX process centers on 3 phases. You are dealing with 3 phases with the lean process. Remember that with design thinking, you dealt with 5 phases, but with the lean UX process, you are dealing with 3 phases. The first process is think, the second process is make, and then the third process is check. So you think, you make, you check. You think, you make, you check. Think, make, check. And then you keep going round. You see that the process is unending. You think, you make, you check. Now, what is the think aspect, which is phase 1? The teams begin to understand the problem, they brainstorm assumptions, and then they write hypothetical solutions for this new product. Or if it is not a new product, if it is an existing product, take for instance, some of you may get jobs after now. Some of you may get jobs after now, and probably those jobs, right, may be for somebody, may even be, Kuda may employ some of us. In fact, it's not may, Kuda will employ some of us. Some heavy fintech companies will employ some of us. Some e-commerce companies will employ some of us. These people already have an existing product. Now, you don't want to start carrying out your research as if it is a new product. You want to carry out your research with the customers already using the product. So there is the part of you are asking different users questions for a new product, and then there is the part of you are asking users questions, or you are asking customers questions, customers that are already using this product. You are asking them questions. So there is the part of asking questions for the new users, or for the for new participants, right, of a new product, or customer feedback of an existing product. Now, when you have asked all the necessary questions from those 2 sets of people, you want to brainstorm possible areas for improvement based on the customer feedback, or based on the user research, or based on the customer research, or based on the competitive analysis. Competitive analysis is you carrying out a research on the market. Now, based on the competitive analysis, based on observing your product in the market, you want to, ask those questions. You've asked the questions, you've gotten some solution from some solutions from there. You can now develop your problem statement. Now, from all of these things that we have gotten, this is the solution we think would work for this. And then you now look at, let's solve this place, let's solve this, let's solve this. So you prioritize your features. Now, let's say that you have gotten your questions, or you have gotten your answers from a lot of persons. Let's say you interviewed 500 people. You've gotten 500 different, in fact, no, don't let's say 500 different. Let's say you've gotten about 10 different features that you need to work on. Beautiful. You've gotten 10 different features that you need to work on. You now prioritize those features. Feature 1 to feature 10, which one is the best that we are, or which one is the most important feature that we need to design? Which one is the next important feature that we need to design? You then prioritize. When you prioritize that, you move to the next phase, where you now make. So in making now, the designers and the developers will now build that new feature, or you can call it a minimum viable product if it is a new product. If it is a new product, then you are looking at a minimum MVP, minimum viable product. For your minimum viable product, you just want to solve one feature at a time. Solve one feature quickly, put it in the market, and see how people would react to it. And then you can now start improving that feature. From this point, this MVP or updates would now be used to test your hypothesis, gather more learnings and feedback for more updates. Then you go to the check phase. Now, your check phase, you begin to test this feature. You begin to figure out if your hypothesis was correct, if your solution was correct, and if it was not correct, you go back to the board to go and do what again? To think. Even if it was correct, some people would now start demanding for a new feature, or you now pick the next feature that you want to develop, right? And then you now go back to your thinking, your making, and your checking again. You go back to the thinking, making, and checking. I saw somebody write TMC, and I just love this. So you can use the TMC, you can use your edit. So you can say we are using TMC for our own solution. TMC, which means think, make, and check. But you would notice that it is still the same product. It is still the same process. Even for the edit, right? It's still the same process that we are following in that aspect. So think, make, check. That is the lean UX process. Think, make, and check. Now, this is the third. So we've talked about design thinking. We've talked about lean UX. Now we are going to the third one, which is agile design. This is also another process. Lean UX is a process. Design thinking is a process. We can call it framework and methodologies, right? So lean UX is a design methodology or framework. Design thinking is a methodology or framework. Agile design as well is a methodology and framework. Sorry, FC Bar, you said I should please explain the name again. I don't understand the question. Can you go over that question again? Can you go over that again? All right, so for agile design, for someone who said that I think somebody said my slide is blurry, you might want to check the bandwidth you are using to watch me. I think if you are using 144 pixels or 240, it may not be so clear. So you can increase that to maybe 360, and then you would check your settings, and then you change it to 360 and above. 720, you would see my screen clearly. Now, for agile design, so many companies will tell you that they want you to work agile. They want you to work agile. Please check your settings and increase the settings from maybe 144 to 360 and above. Okay, Debbie said she doesn't understand the lean UX explanation. So the lean UX explanation follows the process of think, make, and check. With the process of think, making, and checking, you want to think of the problem you are trying to solve and then create hypothetical solutions for that particular problem, right? When you have thought of the problem, you have done your research on the problem, right? You have thought of the problem, you have done your research on the problem, and then you have gotten hypothetical solutions for the problem. That's the think phase. You then go to the make phase. Then you create the application. You either create the application based on the small feature that you want to start with. So you just quickly do something and then send that feature out. So you build the feature. That means you design, and then the developers will then develop that product, and then they let's say they launch the product, right? Now, after launching the product, the check phase, you then begin to do something called the usability test. So you begin to test that product. The product teams test the new feature that they have already developed and they have launched. You test the product, and while you are testing the product now, right? From testing the product, you see if you can improve your design, or if you can add something to the design, or if you can do something else to the design. If you need to add a good feature or a new feature to the design, you then go back to your think phase again to start thinking of the new feature you want to add to that particular product. So you think about the product, think about the problem, get the solution, go to your make phase. The solution you have gotten, design the solution, right? After designing the solution, then you develop the solution still in the make phase, and then you go to the check phase where you test the product to see if it works with the users. And if it works with the users, you can continue updating and fine-tuning your product to make sure that it is continually relevant. So let's take WhatsApp as a very good example. When WhatsApp would first be launched, you notice that it was a very, very simple thing, just chat. You can just chat with anybody at the time. We didn't need all the paparazzi we have on WhatsApp right now. You just needed to chat and talk to people. But as time went on, right, you discover that WhatsApp would update something. Now that's what they are doing. They are thinking of a new feature to add to the product. Now, when they've thought of that product when they've thought of that feature to be added to the product, they test it with some of the users. They say, okay, will this be good? If the users say, oh yes, this would really be nice, they go to the make phase. They design and then they develop it. Now, from developing that, they then test it. So they upload, you guys update, and after you have updated, if you like it, that's when people will say, oh, the new WhatsApp update is fire. The new WhatsApp update is cool. I think I like this on the WhatsApp, that on WhatsApp. Now they are testing the product. When they see that you like this, if somebody says that, oh, I want something different, oh, I want WhatsApp to have something like this, I want WhatsApp to have something like that, WhatsApp would then go back again, look at what you have done. They go back to their think process, they go back to the make process, and then when they've made, they upload again, you guys update again, and then they check if it is good, right? I'm seeing, can the think phase in Lean UX also be termed as the hypothetical phase or the ideation phase, or they are different? You can call it the empathize and define. Oh wait, yes, think. So you can call think phase the empathize and define phase on design thinking. Are we together? The empathize, in fact, let's do it like this. You can call it the empathize, define, and the ideation phase in design thinking, because you need to empathize, you need to define, and you need to ideate as well right here. But now you are simplifying it. Instead of taking it one by one, you have brought everything together under the think phase. I don't know if you understand that now. Still the same process, but different ways we are calling it. We call it different names. Yeah. Okay. So let's move to agile design. We have a lot to cover. Okay. So agile design. Now for agile design, in fact, agile is a big thing right now in every establishment, not just for design, not just for development, not just for tech. Agile is used in the bank, agile is used in manufacturing, agile is used everywhere right now. Why? Because they have seen agile as a simplified method of working. And what is agile? Agile is a management process that makes teams more adaptable to change. This helps to enhance the product and solve significant problems with each iteration, resulting in better user experience and customer satisfaction. Now, with the agile process brings in almost all the teams you are working with together. At this point, we don't have one person segregated and then the other team segregated. With agile, everyone is working. Collaboration is key with agile. With agile, everyone is collaborating together to make sure that at the end of the day, the product we want to the product we want to launch is launched at the time we want to launch it. So you see that they said agile product is a highly collaborative way to design and develop new products by breaking tasks into small chunks performed in sprints. So we are going to be running through this. What's the agile methodology? You would see that we have a drawing here that talks about waterfall methodology. And then here we have the agile methodology. Now, with the waterfall methodology, the team would first come together to analyze. When they are done with analyzing, then everybody will now wait for the design team to finish what they are doing. Now, the design team would also go and start their own waterfall method, which means they will now go and start with research. So the designers can say we need 4 weeks for research, and then after research we need 1 or 2 weeks to to analyze our research. And then from there now they now come to we need 4 weeks for the analysis review. Then you now say from there, from that, now we've already spent 2 months and 2 weeks, so, and we've not seen any design yet. Okay, then you now go to, we need 8 weeks for the design itself. That's another 2 months. So we've done 4 months, 2 weeks, and we then have the design. Okay, that's good. Hallelujah. Now from there, you will now work on, you would present your design after 4 months and 2 weeks. And after you have presented the design, then the developers will now start their meeting. When the developers start their meeting, the developers may take 6 months to now come up with the development, or even more than that. Then after they've come up with that development, you now take it for testing. Now your testing can take, maybe you do 2 weeks for testing, and then after 2 weeks, you people now come back with a review of the testing. Now, if there are design issues, you now take it back to the designer. Then the designers will now start their process again. And then when they are done with the process, they now go back to the developers, which is implementation. Then when they are done, they now go back to testing. And then you would have spent maybe 2 years, and then your product is not even out for release yet. I don't know if you are following my point. Until you have a full, until all the I's would have been dotted, all the T's would be crossed, then they will now say, now we have a product. That is the waterfall method I've just explained, right? But for Agile methodology, while you are making plans, in this point where you are making plan, you would see this place where you see everybody entering for plan. The developers are already making their plan and creating their environment, the environment they will use to code. The designers are already making their plans, their research plan, every plan, even the business, everybody is having meeting. We are all having meetings, like we are meeting at the same point. As the business is telling them what to do, the designers are already talking about what they want to do. The developers are already talking about what they want to do. If they are going to need extra hands, they are going to already start talking about that. The marketers are already on point to start talking about what they want to do. The sales team are already on ground to start talking about what they want to do in the plan stage. Then from the plan stage, you would have planned every other thing you want to do at this point. How many people are we interviewing? How many people are we carrying out research on? Everybody does that together. When we are done with that, all of us, we analyze everything. As we are analyzing, the designers are developing. Now, let me break it down. Let's take, for instance, that we are designing a fintech application. Good, for users, a bank application that users will be using, something like Kuda, right? So at this point, we all know the problem. The engineers know the problem we are solving. The designers know the problem we are solving for. Even the business themselves, even the marketing team, the sales team, we all know the problem we are solving for. And we know that what we want to do is to create an online bank. Beautiful. Now, at this point, we know the problem. We are still in the plan phase. At the design phase, you break down the design. As you are breaking down the design, you say, we are breaking down this design, we are creating the onboarding. From creating the onboarding, we will then go to the from creating the onboarding, we are creating the wallet phase. From creating the wallet phase, we are creating the settings. Or you can say we are creating onboarding, settings, wallets. Good. Now, if we say we are creating settings, we are creating onboarding, settings, and wallets. Beautiful. The moment the designers are done with the onboarding phase, they move it to the engineers immediately. The engineers start coding the onboarding. While the engineers are coding the onboarding, the designers are already working on the settings phase. As the designers are working on the settings phase, you have moved. As the designers are done with the settings phase, you move settings again to the engineers, and then they are working on that. As the designers come to, immediately the engineers are done with the onboarding, people are already testing the onboarding to make sure that there is no problem with the onboarding. The moment the engineers are done with the I'm sorry, we'll still take it over again. The moment the engineers are done with the settings phase, they have taken it back to the to the testers to test the settings, and then everybody checks if the settings is okay. Now, when we are now done with everything, you see, test from design, you go to develop and test, develop and test, develop and test. Now, when you are done with all of this design, develop, testing, moving at the same time, you can now go to deploy and review. Now, if you follow this process, if you follow this agile process, you would see that your the QA testing team, the QA team would fall under testing. Yes. Okay, so don't worry about the onboarding. The onboarding is the place, is like sign up. Let's use a simpler term, right? So the onboarding is like sign up. Yes. Design, the agile design, or agile is collaboration. When you are in agile is collaboration. Onboarding is more like sign up. You are everything you need to do to sign up on that particular product. So with agile methodology now, you see that it is a seamless process from plan to design to your develop to your test to deploy to review and then to launch. So quickly, you people are just iterating, you people are moving fast with this particular journey, and it becomes amazing. So you go from plan, you enter your design, people that are developing, people that are testing it, and then you move. What are the 4 core values of agile software development as stated in the Agile Manifesto? We have an Agile Manifesto, and the core values that we are looking at in Agile is what? We are looking at individuals and interactions. We want to make sure that the users are satisfied more than the processes, over the processes and tools. Users must be satisfied. Users must be satisfied. I always say something, this is a rule or a law in my class. Users come first. My users come first. So at this point, individuals and interactions over processes and tools. And it's not about you as a designer, it is about your user. So even if you don't like color pink, for example, let's say you don't like color pink, but the product you are designing for needs pink in that design, right? You will need to put pink in the design. Okay, so that's that. Now, let's go to working software over comprehensive documentation. Now, you need to make sure that there is a working software. You need to make sure that things are working on the product. From working software, we have customer collaboration over contract negotiation. You also want to make sure that you are focused on your customers. You are able to collaborate with your customers. You're able to converse with your customers. So let's start again. Your users come first. The interactions on the application is something that the interactions on your application must be user-centric, right? Your users come first. Working software, your product must work. It must function. You must be able to collaborate with your customers and feedback. You must respond to change over following of project plan. You must respond to change as quick as possible. Focus on your users. Focus on making your software work very well. Focus on your customers and their feedback. That's something you need to follow when you are looking at the Agile Manifesto. Now, Agile design, principles of Agile design. Agile design breaks down the project into smaller manageable chunks called iterations or sprints. Each iteration typically lasts for a few weeks and involves planning, designing, developing, testing a specific portion of the product. Like, I explained it already with CUDA, right? So that's that. Now, Agile design is highly responsive to change. If a new information or feedback is received, the team can quickly adjust the project direction without waiting for a major review phase, like what we had in the waterfall. With Agile, we can quickly make changes. Now, Agile encourages a culture of ongoing learning and improvement. After each sprint, the team conducts a retrospective to reflect on what went well and what could be improved. So after every After every sprint we run, we then go back to the next phase. We run a sprint, we go back to the next phase. All right, so by 8 p.m. we'll be having a break. By 8 p.m. we'll be having a break so that we can take our attendance. And let me see, this is 1 minute to 8. So let me quickly see if I can see any question. I think I'm fast, so I'll try to be slow. Okay, sorry about that. I think we should take the attendance now. This is just 1 minute. By 8 o'clock, we'll take our attendance and then we'll move from the principles of Agile. Yes, waterfall method is different from the Agile method. With the waterfall method, we are going from one place to the other, right? But with the Agile, we can always iterate. Yeah. Of course, everything I'm saying here is used in real life products. Everything I'm saying here is used in real life products. It's already 8 o'clock, so I think our attendance would come up right now. Yes, it's 8 o'clock. I think a link will be sent to us, and then we would use that link to take our attendance. So let's be patient for the coordinators. They'll send the link now, and then we'll take the attendance. So while we are doing that, I would see if I can just keep answering some of the questions while we take our attendance. Why do we need engineers to code? Well, you have designed the product, but people cannot use your product that is just designed. Let me use this as an example. So you have an outfit that you have in your mind that you want to wear for a party. So you give it to a fashion designer. You tell the fashion designer what you have in mind. I want my scarf to look like this. I want my gown to look like this, and so on and so forth. But you still need a if I would call them tailors, right? Or fashion or cloth makers. You still need people that know how to use the tailoring machine to make that particular cloth. If not, the designer has designed the outfit, but you cannot wear the paper that they designed it on, right? So you have places where you can design. Although there are no or low code applications that you can use as a designer to bring up like real life products. But what we mostly do is we design and then we give a developer to bring that design to life. So what the engineer will do, the developer, they would bring our design to life. Yeah. Yes, Agile method is very, very effective. Can we say in Agile method, all teams work at the same time? Of course, all teams would work. All teams would work. And when we say something is iterative, we mean that it's not going from one place to the other. It's not going like A, B, C, D. It can go A, B, C, then it can come back to B, then it can still come back to A. So when you say something is iterative, it can jump from one place to another. It can move forward, backward, or round. It's not just going as linear. It's not a linear process where it just drops from top, like ascending order or descending order. It can jump from one place to the other. That's what we mean by iterative. I think okay. Yes, the attendance is already shared, so we can fill the attendance right now.
Have you ever wondered how your favorite app or gadget came to be? That's the magic of product design. It's not just about making things look pretty, it's about solving problems and creating experiences that people love. Hi, my name is Precious Davis. Imagine you're hungry. You open a food delivery app. It's easy to use. Finds the perfect meal and gets it to you quickly. That's great product design. It's about understanding the user, creating solutions, and making sure the product works seamlessly. So, why choose product design? First, you get to be creative and innovative. You are constantly coming up with new ideas and solutions. Second, you make a real impact on people's lives. You can design and improve people's daily routines and experiences. And third, the job market is booming. Companies are always looking for talented product designers. Ready to dive in? In our course, you will learn the fundamentals of user research, sketching, wireframe, and prototyping. You will also explore user experience, UX design, and user interface design. But it's not just about theory. We believe in hands-on learning. You will work on real-world projects and collaborate with other creative minds. After graduation, you'll be ready to take on exciting roles like product designer, UX designer, UI designer, or even UX researcher. You can work in tech, healthcare, e-commerce, or any industry that creates digital products. The possibilities are endless. Are you ready to shape the future of products? Join us and unlock your potentials as a product designer. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our social media platforms.
All right, I was still dancing to the tune of the song. Okay, we are welcome back. I see that we've posted some questions here. I would like to quickly start with something. The waterfall methodology is absolutely different from the agile methodology. And the waterfall methodology is something, it was a process that people used before in design, so even in management, right? But they discovered that it's not a very seamless process because it is a linear process. You have to do one before the other, right? So most of the time, people prefer agile to the waterfall method. Of course, they are different. Waterfall is different from the agile methodology. So don't jumble the two together, right? Okay, so let me quickly check on some of the questions we've asked. Someone said, okay, let me start from here. In Lean UX, do we use prototype before the real product? Of course, you need to prototype your work before before the developers begin to work on it, before the engineers begin to work on it. So of course, yes, you need to prototype your work so that with the prototype, the engineers know what they are coming up with or what they are designing or what they are developing. So if I want to redesign a web or an app to build my portfolio, will I need to meet an engineer for that? You can redesign and just leave it at that. But if you want that product to be live, for example, YouTube. Yes, let's use YouTube. You are making use of YouTube now. A designer would have designed YouTube, but a developer coded all of those experiences you are having on YouTube right now. So for all of the experiences you are having on YouTube right now, a developer kept that in place, although a designer helped with making sure that it is very user friendly, it is very aesthetically pleasing, such that when you see it, you like what you see and you can always stay on the application, right? And I want to give another disclaimer that it's not all of these methods that you will use while you are designing. You can decide to stick with the agile methodology. You can decide to stick with the design thinking methodology. You can decide to stick with the Lean UX methodology. So it's not everything that you must do. Just pick the one that would work well with you, or pick the one that would work well with your company, and then you can work with that. So let's see. How are user personas, user journeys, and other user research artifacts utilized within the agile process? That is done in the planning phase. So in the planning phase, you carry out all of that. Can we say Lean UX design is effective for existing products while agile method is great for developing new products? You can use any of these methods at any point in time. You can use the lean UX for a new product or for an existing product, and you can use the agile for a new product or an existing product. How often is user research and testing conducted during agile process? It's very important that user research is conducted. Sometimes customer feedback would be used if it is an existing product, and usability testing is like key in every product. Usability testing is key because you have to test your product before you put it out there. I'm hoping I've covered most of the questions. Okay. You cannot really give the differences between most of these methodologies because they will still pass through one process or the other. Like the lean UX method is going through think, make, and then TMC, think, make, and then check. And then you will see that with the agile method, you are still doing the same thing, but at this point, you are cutting them into chunks. So agile method, you are just cutting them into chunks, you are cutting them into bits, and then you are making sure that all of these things are done, right? So you cannot really give a big difference between one or two of the methodologies. You just find the one that really works well for you, and then you work with it, right? So you can design your application without a developer. However, you need a developer to bring the design to life using, okay, I think I said that already. Yes, please. Okay, all right. I would advise that we stop putting like attendance marks. If you have marked your attendance, just leave it at that so that it doesn't cover other questions that would be coming on board. Thank you so much, everybody. So we'll be going back to the different methodologies. We've talked about design thinking, we've talked about lean UX, we've talked about agile design. The next one we'll be talking about is double diamonds, DD, double diamonds. And of course, as I said earlier, it's not compulsory we make use of all of these products or all of these processes, right? But just pick the one that you find interesting and the one you can work with as you are designing. But of course, you need to know all of these processes so that when you get into a company and they tell you that we make use of double diamonds in this company, you are not confused, like what's the meaning of double diamonds, you get? So in double diamond diagram is a structured design methodology that differentiates between divergent and convergent methods of thinking, and when they occur during strategy and execution in the design process. Don't worry about that. That's just definition. We are going to talk about it. Now, for the double diamond method, it has a method of solving problem. That's the word. It is a method of solving problem through thinking. There's something I used to say in all my class, and I don't think I've said it in this class. As a designer, one thing will be your hobby, and that thing is thinking. Thinking will be your hobby as a designer. Why? Because you need to solve a problem. And because you need to solve a problem, you need to think most times out of the box. Sometimes in the box, but most times out of the box. Now, as a double diamond user, you would be needing to think divergently and broadly, and you will still need to bring your design to one particular place. You would need to think divergent, you need to think convergent. So divergent thinking is a creative mode of thinking that explores many possible solutions and seeks to generate novel ideas. So with divergent thinking, you can bring innovative ideas, you can bring creative ideas, you can, that creative idea, that innovative idea can just lead to you solving a particular problem. Now, with convergent thinking, you pick one particular idea, right? And then you start thinking of a particular way to solve that focused idea. So you are looking at different methods to achieve a particular thing. With divergent thinking, you are thinking broadly, but with convergent thinking, you are thinking in a streamlined manner. That's the English I've been looking for. You are thinking in a streamlined manner. Convergent thinking, you are thinking in a streamlined manner. Divergent thinking, you are thinking in a broad manner. Now we have 4 phases of the double diamond process, 4 Ds of the double diamond process. discover, define, develop, deliver. Discover, define, develop, deliver. You would see that it is almost close to Edict, right? It is still close to TMC. It is still close to Agile. But you would notice that they just have different methods or different English of covering up all of these things. So with discover, define, develop, and then deliver, you discover the problem you are looking for, you define the solution, and then you develop the solution, turn it to a product, and then you deliver it to the people. I hope I've made it clear. Discover the problem, define the solution, develop that solution, turn it into a live product, and then deliver it to your users. That's everything about double diamonds. Let's still see some things here. So you would see that you have a challenge here, right? You have to discover that problem. When you have discovered the problem, you define it, and after you have defined it, you ideate, you develop the problem, you develop the solution rather. From developing this solution, you then deliver it to the people. So you see now, you create divergent thinking here. That means you are thinking broadly, then you converge your thoughts here to get the solution that you want to use to build that application. Now from there, you then create a divergent thinking on a broad way to create or to get the best of the solution that you have chosen from this place, and then you now converge with one application to deliver to the people. So that's that. Yeah, you say you decide on what to fix. Decide on what to fix. This is the problem. This is the definition of the problem, and then this is the solution. Decide on what to think. Discover what the users want. Then you get the solution, right? After getting the solution, what problem are they? Then you develop it, and then you deliver that solution. Develop the solution, and then deliver it to the users. Now we have moved from double diamonds. When you think of double diamonds, just think of 4Ds, right? When you think of double diamonds, just think of When you think of double diamonds, just think of 4Ds. The first D is what? Discover. Second D is what? Define. The third D is what? Develop. And then the fourth is deliver. So that's that. First is discover, define, develop, and then deliver. And it's very close to Edict. If you look at it, it's very, very, very close to Edict. So you don't need to use everything. You just need to focus on one actual one. Exactly. Now, this is another methodology. I told you we have many methodologies. So this is another methodology. We have the user-centered design. And with the user-centered design, this is a design methodology that uses iterative processes to put the users at the center of the product development. There's something we call user centricity. That means you are putting the users at the center of the product. There's no way you want to design. I tell my people, I said, there's no way you really want to design and then you are thinking of your own self while you are designing. So I used to in one of my classes, this person says that, oh, the reason why I kept this picture was because I really like it. And I asked the person, I said, did you ask the users if they like this picture? Because at the feedback, people said, no, the picture is off. So did you ask the users if the image you are using is off, or just because you have a preference? And this is where we talk about bias in design, right? I don't know if we're going to talk about it during the major course. We've not really started. So when we get there, we should talk about bias in design. Now, you may think that, oh, because of what I like, I should impose that as a designer on what I am building. But that's very, very wrong, right? You don't need to put what you like. You need to think of your users. Now, how do you do that? User-centered design helps to make sure that you are thinking of your users, not you. From the designing or from the beginning of the product, which is designing at the beginning, right? You need to be thinking of the users, not yourself. So user-centered design generally involves activities like understanding your users, specifying the problem to solve, designing that problem, and then evaluating it. Can you see that it is still, really, if you look at it deeply, it is still designed with it is still very, very close with design thinking. It's still close to lean UX. It's still close to agile methods. It's still close to double diamond. So you need to understand the user, which means you need to empathize with the user, which is the E part in where design thinking, right? Good. So understand your user, which means empathize with your user. Specify, which means get the specific topic you want, specific problem you want to solve. Design the solution, brainstorm and develop the solution, and then evaluate, which means test the product or prototype to access success and incorporate feedback. I like Jimmy. Jimmy is already using short code for everything. He said USDE. So that's good. So that is understand, specify, design, and then evaluate. Understand, specify, design, and evaluate. Right, good. So this is it. You understand the context of use, you specify the user requirements, you design the solutions, and then you evaluate against requirements, and you are done. So we are going to another one. No, don't be confused. You see that this one is user-centered design. Now we are moving to the next phase. I don't even know the number we are in right now. The next phase right now is now user experience design elements. That is another methodology on its own. That's another framework on its own. You understand? User experience design elements. User experience design elements. Now, with user experience design elements, we have 5 elements. Thank you very much, Abu. We have 5 elements that we are using to have good user experience while we are designing, right? Now, the 5 elements moves from abstract to concrete. Now, the reason why we are saying from abstract to concrete is because at the level of abstract, you are doing something as a designer, but people are not seeing what you are doing because you are carrying out research. In the research space, people are not seeing the design. So somehow in this class now, people are already thinking like, can we just move to design? Can we just move to design? But all of these phases are very, very important, right? So at the abstract phase, you are not seeing it. I felt like speaking pidgin at this point. I wanted to say, they see show workings, no workings at this point, but you are working as a designer. Show workings, you don't have any workings, but you are carrying out research. So at the strategy phase, that is the abstract level. But the moment you get to the surface stage, that is when people now see the entire work you have done, and then they'll be like, oh wow, this is really beautiful. They didn't see what you were doing in the abstract that now led to the surface, right? Or that led to the concrete. So at this point, you want to say from abstract to concrete, and the journey between abstract to concrete are 5 S. So you see now we have double Ds. Now we have 5 S. I don't know if we should call it, is it quadruple they will call it, or I don't know, for 5, you people shall get it. So we are dealing with 5 S here, 5 S here. Good. Now the first S from abstract, we are moving from abstract, and the way it is like the foundation of a house. The way this 5 S is like you are building a house. You need the foundation first. And actually with the foundation, you see that people don't see the foundation of a house, but people see after the house has really been built and everything, right? So now 5S, beautiful. The UX design elements, 5S, from abstract to concrete. We start with what? Strategy. Now in the strategy phase, that's where you look at the user needs, that's where you look at the business goals, that's when you look at the different things that you want to ask your users, your research. In fact, let's just summarize it to be research, right? And then you then go to scope. At the scope now, you are looking at different requirements that you will be bringing into their application or into the product, right? And then you now move to structure. Now, at the structure level, you are bringing the information architecture, your user flow, your interaction design, a bit of style guide, and one thing or the other. You are just putting it in and making sure that things work at this point. That's, you are bringing structure in. So at the scope, you are getting solutions and then you are working and fine-tuning it. At the structure, you are putting things in place. What content are we bringing on board? What information are we bringing on board? What content are we bringing on board? And then at the skeletal phase, you then start dealing with wireframe. So with wireframe now, you look at your low fidelity wireframe for the skeleton. Low fidelity wireframe, which is your white and black or your very, very small sketch of what the application should look like. And then at the surface stage, you are now looking at the visual design, where you need to make it very aesthetically pleasing, where you need to bring in your colors, your images, where you need to make your your buttons interact, and so many others. So if you are going to take it again, you are taking it from strategy, scope, structure, then skeleton and surface. 5S: strategy, scope, structure, skeleton, and surface. So with that now, you will see that strategy is abstract, but surface is concrete. And that's all about user experience design elements. I think because of time, I'm trying to run. Now we have product development lifecycle as another methodology and framework. So we have product development lifecycle, and with product development lifecycle, if you have actually been listening to me, you would see similarities in all of these things. And then you can pick what I've never even thought of looking at the difference between one of those frameworks or the other, because if you look deep into it, you would see that most of these frameworks really intertwine. They are really talking about, in fact, they're almost talking about the same thing. They're almost talking about the same process. Just make sure that you follow through, and then you would see that, yes, it makes sense. So let's go to product development lifecycle. And with product development lifecycle, we have five stages in the product development lifecycle. Also 5 stages, but this time around is not 5S or 4D. So you can look for you can look for where you can look for the kind of code you want to use for that. So the first stage is to brainstorm. And if you think of brainstorm is like the empathize stage of design thinking, and it's like the strategy stage of user experience design elements, right? So you brainstorm, and when you are done brainstorming, you define. At the define stage, of course, still the same thing with what we have with strategy structure. With structure now, still the same thing, and then you design. So at this design stage now, you do all your low fidelity design, and then you now test. So when you are done when you have at this stage of testing, you test internally. That's, you do internal test with the engineers and the likes. You make sure you test the work and then it's going fine. And then you test with the stakeholders. That means with some of your participants, with the owners of the business, so that so that your design also follows the product or the business that you want to design for. And then you can now do the outbound testing, where you test with just total strangers to see the feedback from them. And then when you are done with that, and then you don't have, like, at this point, you don't have a problem, you don't have any issue, you can then launch your product, of course. And at launching, by the time you launch the product, you go back to analyzing what your customers are saying about the product. From analyzing what the customers are saying about the products, you do what again? You come back to brainstorm to find solutions to those problems. Then you define, you design, you test. And instead of launch now, you update. So instead of launch at the next phase, you update. Then you keep running round those circles. Brainstorm, define, design, test, update. Brainstorm, define, test, and then update. The product development lifecycle usually involves many stakeholders across the organization, and this process starts from the problem or the pain point to ensure that product development meets the real user's need and the whole team is aligned around the same goal. Okay, so we'll be moving. Yes, okay. This is even more detailed. So at the brainstorm stage, start with defining the problem or the pain point. The team brainstorms all possible solutions. Then at the define stage, the team aligns on specification of the product, define the vision, look at the target audience or the target users, the features, the benefits, the success metrics, and so on. And then at the this is it here, BDDTL. This is it, brainstorm, define, design, test, launch. So at the design stage, the product is designed from low fidelity to high fidelity, starting with sketches and wireframes, and then moving to prototypes and a complete interface, right? And then at the test phase, you test the product to make sure that everything works well. And then at the launch phase, you launch your product. I think I've already explained that. So because of time, we would be moving. Then we have this hook model. The hook model. Hook model. Now, at the hook model, this is another methodology and framework. Let's realize that, right? So at the hook model, this is a framework that builds habit forming products. Just as the name implies, hook model, what they are trying to do with hook model is to make the users hooked to a particular product. For example, WhatsApp. How many people spend more than 1 hour on WhatsApp? Again, let's start saying that. Or how many people spend more than 1 hour on TikTok? If you probably spend a lot of hours, maybe you just want to spend like 5 minutes on TikTok. I in fact, it happened to me today. So maybe you just want to spend like 1 minute, or you just want to search for something fast on TikTok, and then from one thing to the other, they got you hooked. That is what hook model wants to achieve. So with hook model, they want to see a method of turning their particular product into a habit forming product, a product that you don't want to leave, a product that when you wake up, you want to be on the product. When you sleep, or before you sleep, you want to be on the product, right? Good. Now, if we are going to find the stages for hook model, we are looking at 4 steps. Now, the first thing is trigger. We want to understand what external and internal triggers users, what will trigger somebody. That's the word, trigger. What will trigger somebody to come on an app? Something should trigger me to come on the application. If something triggers me to come on the application, that is my first process of hook. Now, this is where you carry out research. What will trigger users to come on the application? Okay, if I discover that some users need to meet friends, okay, that is a trigger. So if I can say, meet new friends on TikTok today, some people might come on TikTok. So understand what external and internal triggers. Now, there are external triggers and then there are internal triggers. If you want to learn about that, don't worry, that's a special class. This one is just peripheral, right? So we have the external triggers, we have the internal triggers that would lead you to sometimes it's even YouTube. Sometimes some people are hooked to YouTube. Now, when you get that trigger, you now look at it like, what is the action the user will take to continually stay in that particular place? So you have gotten the trigger. Immediately, the designer finds the trigger. He's happy. That is the trigger you would use to continually bring the user back to the application. Now, when you find the trigger, know the action they will take when they come on board. And then you want to give them a reward for coming online. So you want to give them a reward for coming online. You want to give them a particular reward for being on your platform. That's why you see now with TikTok, they can do giftings on TikTok. They can buy something on TikTok. TikTok is finding a way to reward a variable reward for the particular trigger that they have caused the user to have. And then they now want you to do what? To invest. Now you will now be investing more time. You see now with variable reward, they give you a positive reward, right, for getting something. And then they now give you incentive to invest more time on the product. They now give you something like if you watch this video to the end, you are going to get 1 point. Okay, let me give you one very good example. Some people are here. Amster is a very all of you that are doing crypto on what is it now, on what's this, Telegram, right? Telegram, good. So they have gotten a way to do what? To make you consistent on that particular application with that, so that you can invest your time, so that you can invest even money sometimes, so that you can invest it in that particular product. So you will see it, they give you a trigger, they give you an action, they give you a variable reward, and then they make you invest more time on the products. This is done by Extreme X. Okay, is it AMSAT? So they, in fact, by the time they've done all of this, you would see that you are just on the application and you cannot stop, right? So that's that. Let's move. Okay, this is me explaining it. There are external triggers, there are internal triggers. External triggers like maybe a mail or a link or an icon that will just make you click on something and then get there. Now, internal triggers would happen within the system that would make you hooked on it, right? Then you now have the action. From the action, you have the variable reward, and then from the variable reward, you now have your investment. Now, you see that the hook model is a great way to start considering how you would bring users into a system, hook them, and keep them there through variable rewards and internal triggers, right? All right. Okay, now let's go to another framework. Another framework is Basic UX. That's the name, Basic UX. But Basic is the acronym for what we want to discuss, and it's a framework, Basic UX. So with Basic, you are looking at beauty, you are looking at accessibility, you are looking at simplicity, you are looking at intuitiveness, and you are looking at consistency. And you are using this, right? You are using this to create, let's say, it says it is a relatively new design framework that provides interaction design guidelines for modern product development. With beauty, accessibility, simplicity, intuitiveness, and consistency, you are using this to create more of an aesthetically pleasing product. So with Basic, you are doing a lot with visuals. So you are creating beauty. You are making sure that the app is very beautiful. You are making sure that it is accessible. And what we mean by accessibility is that anybody can use it, whether you are colorblind or you have one particular disability or the other, you can use the application. Then it has to be very simple, right? With simplicity, it has to be very intuitive. And with that, it has to be consistent. Consistent color all through. Consistency, very, very key in your design. If you are able to achieve this Basic, you are very good with your design. So I explained this here. These are questions that you need to ask when you are dealing with the Basic UX framework. Let me see. Time is flying. I don't know how time is flying today. So we have, for beauty, is the visual design aesthetically pleasing? I already said it, that it has to be beautiful. For accessibility, can everyone use it? Right? Can everyone use it? Does it comply with the accessibility standards? Right? Then for simplicity, does it reduce the workload of the user? Is it free of clutter? For intuitiveness, is the functionality clear? Can everyone understand it? If a simple user cannot understand it, then there's a problem. Then for consistency, does the product reuse existing UI patterns? Does it have the same buttons? Does it have the same color? Does it have the same typography? Or the typographies are just everywhere, and so on and so forth? So those are the things that you would use to consider a basic framework. And I think this is the final one for the methodologies and frameworks. So we have UX honeycomb. Now, UX honeycomb is a framework that lists 7 principles, and these 7 principles help you to deliver high quality products and good user experience. So you see that with basic, you are dealing with aesthetics, visuals, but with UX honeycomb, you are dealing with user interface and user experience at the same point. So you have to make sure that your product is useful. You have to make sure that your product is usable. You have to make sure that it is desirable. It has to be something that people want to use. It has to be something that people need. It has to be findable. By people searching for it, they have to find it. It has to be accessible, like we have said in the former ones. It has to be good for everybody to use, whether you are going through one disability or the other. It has to be credible. People should be able to trust the application or the product you are designing, and it has to deliver value. Any product that does not deliver value, people will not use it. And if people don't use it, then your product will not sell. If your product does not sell, your company does not make money. If your company does not make money, they will fire you. Now, do we have any question from this? But you know what? Before we ask our questions, I want us to quickly move to the design principles, and I'm just going to explain some very few design principles. I think these 7 design principles, I would see if I can run. I've been running since morning. I saw someone wrote that, said I've been running since morning. So let me quickly run through these commonly recognized design principles: balance, contrast, emphasis, movement, proportion and scale, repetition, rhythm, unity, and harmony. That's because we are going to take a test quickly. So we have balance. Balance refers to the distribution of visual weight in a design. Now, if you are looking at YouTube, you would notice that YouTube has balance. If you're looking at any application, most websites, you would see at least one kind of balance or the other. And we have different types of balance. We have symmetrical balance, we have asymmetrical balance. Time would not permit me to explain all of this in the way I'm supposed to explain it. We have mosaic balance, we have horizontal balance, we have radial balance. And you want to make sure that in your design, you want to make sure that your design has proper balance so that your design can feel stable and harmonious, right? This is an example of a balanced symmetrical design. This is another type of balance, right, in design. Can you see? I was supposed to break this down and explain that, but time would not permit me to do that. Now we have contrast in design. Contrast in design refers to the difference in visual properties. Contrast in design refers to the difference in visual properties between elements in a user interface, right? So you can use color to get your contrast. You can use size to get your contrast. For example, this contrast written white, and then we have a pink background. This is good contrast, right? The time or the I'm seeing a different thing from what you are seeing, but you can see that the right up here, contrast refers to the so and so, shows that this is good contrast because the background is brighter and then the text is darker. So contrast, you can use size for contrast, spacing for contrast, and that's that. We have emphasis in design as well. You can use emphasis to create good principles in design. You can use movement. Movement would mean guiding the user's eye to a predetermined path in a particular composition. So you can use movement to create good design as well. You can use proportion. Proportion is sizing. Scale is also sizing. So you can create something small to something big to create proportion in design, right? And to make it good. Now you have small button, you have middle button, you have huge button, you have different things in the design. Now you have repetition and rhythm in design. By repeating colors, by repeating colors, by repeating by repeating buttons, by repeating your text, and so many others, you would be able to get something your design. I think that maybe when we are diving into the classes, it's just for us to see one or two things. We would be done in a jiffy. Let's see, we have unity and harmony. Unity in design means creating a sense of visual similarity between different elements in a composition, right? You are trying to create a sense of unism in your design. So with that, that's another principle of design. Okay, I think we are done with that. So we have unity and harmony, we have repetition and rhythm, we have proportion and scale, we have movement, we have emphasis, we have contrast, and we have balance. Okay. Now, based on our study so far, what have we learned? Or do we have any question? Do we have any question? If you're asking for how you get the slide, you should be on the Telegram group. That would be shared there. Don't worry about how you get the slide. Do we have any question? Any question? Let me see. I don't know if we would have the time to go through this. So if you have your phone, or if you can scan this, or if you can just go to www.slido.com. Let's see if you can quickly do that. Can we scan this? Okay, so I'm seeing something. Someone different methodologies, but you don't have to apply all. Yes, that's very true. That's very true. I like this TAVI. I've been seeing TAVI, but I never really knew what it was until I'm seeing trigger, action, variable reward, and investment, which is hook. Yes, I like that. Can we scan? All right. I'm sorry if I was too fast. I know it's a lot. So are we there now? Have we scanned it? No active polls. Thank you. I know there are no active polls. Hold on. All right. So let's see how many people would be joining right now. All right. This is beautiful. Yes, please keep joining. I see a lot of people are joining. So quickly we will do this. Okay. Keep joining. I may not be able to see you now. Right? So just keep joining. If you cannot scan the code, just go to www.slido.com and then enter the code 4640176. 4640176. I see that a lot of people have joined. www.slido.com. All right, so we've started the first question already. The first question is up. Okay, I see people are already answering the question. Okay. I know we didn't really do so much on the design principles, right? But let me see what we have. At least we mentioned everything. We mentioned all the design principles that's there. So let's see. Okay, we have few seconds to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, so all right, so the answer is flexibility for one. Which of the following is not commonly recognized as a design principle? We have good. Okay, that's nice. Okay, nice. Wow, 122 people voted. That's good. I like that. So we have the second question on now. The first question is locked. Which of the following is not a recognized design methodology or framework? Which of the following is not a recognized design methodology or framework, right? So let's go. Going. Which of the following is not a recognized design methodology or framework? I'm liking the answers I'm seeing. Just if it is not scanning, we've already started though. www.slido.com. Okay, time is up already, and the answer is design satisfaction and alignment. Design satisfaction and alignment. Well done. Good job. The next question is loading. What is the primary goal of lean UX in the design process? What is the primary goal of lean UX in the design process? What is the primary goal of lean? You know, we talked about lean UX. Just after we talked about design thinking, we talked about lean UX. So what is the primary goal of lean UX in the design process, right? I'm liking what I'm seeing. Like you guys are doing well now. I have 204 participants or 206 participants now. I have 167 votes. Okay, people are still voting and it is logged. 175 votes already, 176 votes. All right, 81% chose the correct answer, actually. All right, so let's see. I like what I'm seeing. I like this. All right, now we are going to the next question, which is the final question. The next question, which is the final question. Okay, which of the following best describes the purpose of design methodologies and frameworks in product design? Which of the following best describes the purpose of design methodologies and framework in product design? All right, I see you. 119 votes already. Going. 144. And we are locking very soon. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and locked. 96 people chose B. And then to reveal the answer is B, which is correct. And then we have to reveal our leaderboard. This is amazing. This is so amazing. We can see the leaderboard, right? We can see the leaderboard. That's great. That's great. I like this. So who came first? What's your position? Let's go back. Ooh, 4/4. I like that. Nice. This is good, right? I like what I see. Okay. This is good. Nice one. So with this now you have your assignment. Please screenshot the assignment. Using the principles of design, look for an app you currently use which does not follow one or more of the design principles, and write out what they can do to follow the design principle. you should use Google Docs for your write-up. Thank you very much. Always remember that a designer is an intentional critic. And thank you very much. This is my email, and this is my name on LinkedIn, and this is my name on Instagram and YouTube. But I'll be going back to this place so that you can see the assignments as I hand over to Folashade. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, hi guys. Hello. I'm back again. Well done, Esther. Well done. It was,
Thank
how
you
do I
so much.
explain it? The fact that you really had to explain all this in such a short time. Well done. I must commend you for that. Well done.
Thank
So I
you.
would like to encourage you, everybody, all ladies, please go back to rewatch this video, and don't let your learning stop here. Everything you've learned, try to read about it, do more research and all that. That's how you learn. Practice. She has given you an assignment. Please do the assignment. Let's communicate on Telegram. I'm on Telegram. She's on Telegram. She came me as well is on Telegram. We're all on Telegram. So it's very important that you do your take-home assignments. Hi, Shikemi. Hello. Good to see you again. So it's important that you guys, you ladies, do your assignment. I know that the class, we had like a short time because this topic itself, we can use 1 week to actually, more than a week to talk about it. But we know we have timeline for everything, and we know where we are going. Okay. Okay, it's fine. And we know where we're going. So please and please, let's go back, rewatch this video, and every those ones that she didn't have time to explain, let's go back and read about it, right? And on the Telegram group, please drop your question because of time. We don't have time anymore right now. Like the time for this class is over, so we need to go as soon as possible. I would say that you drop your question on Telegram group. We're all on Telegram group. All of us, once we get the question, we'll answer as soon as possible. So please and please go back to rewatch. The slides will be shared to you, but not now. Just hold on, to be shared to you. But please and please go back to rewatch this video. If you need to screenshot. If you need to take a picture of it, take a picture as you digest this information. So when the assignment will be communicated, will be sent to you. Our next class is on Monday, and I want you to be prepared, do your assignment and all that. Have a lovely day. I don't know if anybody has any other thing to say because it's already we are 1 minute to go. Let's continue the conversation on Telegram. Let's continue on Telegram. Thank you very
Thank you so
much.
much,
Please go back,
everyone.
read, digest, practice, do your assignments, read on everything that you have been taught, do more research. You don't just after learning, you don't just pack it somewhere and say that's all, because you are going to use a lot of this, and that's why we're giving you the theory before we get to the practical. Because once we start the practical, we've started. No going back, except you personally going back to now do your work, and all this will actually help you as you develop your digital product. So well done. Let's move the conversation to Telegram group. All right, everybody. We'll see on Monday, and we can continue our conversation on Telegram. Take care of yourself and have a beautiful Sunday. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Go to church, oh.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining the class tonight. We want to say a big thank you to our facilitator Esther for taking us in the class tonight. We hope that you enjoyed the class. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel so that you can get notified each time the class is going to be going live again. Don't forget to also join the Telegram community and follow us on all our social media platforms so that you can get informations as we send them out. We hope to see you in the next class. Have a wonderful time.